The number one thing that you must do if you want to have a successful winter arc is change your mindset. And when I say your mindset, I mean changing it to one that is full of growth, abundance, self-love, and self-discipline. Self-love is often conflated with self-care, and self-care is also not actually what you kind of believe it to be as well, which is often, bubble baths and, painting your nails and doing a face mask, things like that. It's not just about the kind of physical or outward appearance to, feel better. That's all well and good, and that's really great for you, but self-love is inside. Self-love is key to having a transformational journey like a winter arc. For example, self-love begins with self-acceptance, and you need to understand that you are who you are. And that might sound a bit strange, and it might sound a bit like, well, yeah, obviously, but a lot of us don't actually accept who we are. We want to have these transformations all the time to change who we are, to become a different person because we see our future self. But is that future self actually you? And that might sound like a strange question, but you need to actually form a future self that is still you, that still has your past, still has your regrets, still has your history, that still has some of your faults maybe, because you're never going to be a perfect person. That's impossible. You need to know that you are going to be yourself, but a little bit better, but improved, okay? You need to understand that you need to be who you need to be, but you also need to be yourself. And I know that sounds a little bit strange perhaps, but yeah, it's you need to understand that you are who you are. And that begins with self-love. I've recently been reading Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers by Tam Kaur, and one of the things that she talks about is looking at the 5 love languages and understanding how you can make that self-love instead of it being someone else doing it for you. For example, one of the things that is my love language, is probably the highest, is acts of service. So the ways that I can help myself on my own self-love journey is by implementing acts of service to myself. So things like planning and meal prepping, things that are going to help me with the next week, the next day, and will, just help me out a little bit more. I can do that for my own self. So I recommend firstly reading that book because it's great, but also maybe taking that test, and I will put a link down below where you can take it, and it will allow you to see how you actually perceive love and what you want from love, and how you can then change it and do it for yourself. Now, self-discipline is probably one of the hardest things there is to do. To be self-disciplined takes courage, it takes consistency, and it takes hard work. It's not all going to be run on motivation. Motivation is good, it kick-starts usually that transformation and that desire to be disciplined, but you can't just rely solely on motivation. It's not enough. But self-discipline, once mastered, or once you feel comfortable with self-discipline, is so key to life. Like, it will allow you to literally do whatever you want, be however you want, and you will always get your goals done if you master self-discipline. Self-love and self-discipline go hand in hand, because you need to give yourself enough self-love to be disciplined. Because if you don't love yourself and if you don't care for yourself, why would you go and be disciplined? You're not going to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning to go to the gym. You're not going to eat clean and only eat the right things and stop eating junk food and processed food. You're not going to do that if you don't love yourself. So that's why you need to start with self-love and self-acceptance. The next thing that you really need to do to have a successful winter arc is to plan and to have actionable, definable goals. If you don't have definable goals, then it's just going to be, another kind of New Year's, or I want to do this year, and you don't actually write it down, and you just have this idea and it doesn't go to plan. And you don't want that. You want this winter arc to be successful. That's why you clicked on this video. So to have a plan, you must write it down. You cannot just have this vision of what you want to do and just have it in your head. That's not going to work. It's not going to be helpful. So you need to, whether it's digitally, whether it's literally just on your notes in your phone, or whether it's on a really nice fancy notepad, a nice diary, and a nice notebook, whatever it is, you need to write down what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. For me, I really enjoyed using this Notion template that I will link down below. It's by another self-development YouTuber, and I'll put her up here. I found it to be so useful. So what she does is she has this kind of wheel of life, cycle of life, and it has many different things on it, for example, like relationships, career, fun, so self-development. So you can use this cycle to see where you need to improve. And how she said you should do it is that you should look at each area and score it out of 10. So for example, fun, maybe your fun is actually quite low. Maybe it's like, a 4 or 5 out of 10, because maybe you actually don't prioritize things that are enjoyable and are enjoyable for the sake of being fun and enjoyable. And maybe if you unlocked more of fun, more of just doing things because you want to, then maybe that will help encourage other areas and unlock other areas. You never know, because maybe if you unlock having more fun, then that will really help with your self-development or your career or your relationships. You really need to make sure that you have an idea of what you're going to do each day, each week, and each month leading up to 2025. So obviously you need to make sure that you leave room for spontaneity and for, changes that might happen that might be beyond your control. But generally you need to know what to do each day, which is going to lead to a successful winter arc. That is the point of this. So you need to make sure that each day aligns with that. So are you going to get up at 6 a.m? Are you going to get up at 5 a.m? What time are you going to go to sleep? What are you going to eat each day? What habit are you going to implement each day? And what are you going to habit stack? Where is the consistency in your plan? You need to make sure that what you're doing has some repetition. You can't just say, well, this week I'm going to, maybe one day I'll go to the gym, but then the next week then I'll maybe just, eat a salad, or I don't know, maybe I'll do some yoga. It's like, no, you need to do something daily. If you want to get fit, then make sure you're doing something each day that is going to allow you to get that. You don't have the time to just kind of do whatever. This is a winter arc, okay? You only have until 2025, which is not too far away. You really don't have the time to just kind of do whatever. So you need to really, lock in. This is the point of a winter arc. So create definable steps, create actionable steps, which is going to get you to where you want to be. Okay, and the last thing that you need to do to have a successful winter arc is to have the knowledge and the power to be able to do it. So knowledge is power, education is power. And so you need to know what it is that you're doing and how it's going to actually benefit you. So it's all well and good you saying, I want to eat better. How are you going to eat better? What is the foods that you're going to be eating? How is it going to help you? You need to actually know these things, and it's going to allow you to kind of rely on that in those moments of, inconsistency, in those moments of self-doubt, in those moments of just wanting to quit basically and not wanting to be where you are. You need to know how these things that you're doing is actually going to help you. So for example, if you're looking for a better way of eating, saying we're going to eat better is all, well and good, but it's not, again, actionable. It's not definable. How are you going to eat better? What things are you going to eat and how are they going to help you? For example, a Mediterranean diet is actually one of the best diets. And there's foods in there that are anti-inflammatory. So if you're looking for that, then that is how it's going to benefit you. Some of the books that I recommend for you to have a successful winter arc are The Mind-Gut Connection, Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers, Money Psychology, Money a User's Guide, and also there's this book about being in your 20s and it being like, how you can make it the best decade, and I'll put it here, I've forgotten the name. But yeah, so I really recommend that you actually read some of these books. It's the best time to do it. It's winter, you're going to be sitting inside a lot of the time because it's colder, it's darker, so use this to your advantage. So actually help yourself by creating the knowledge around what you want to do and understanding how it's going to benefit you. You can then rely on these books, rely on these texts and see, go back to it, go to a particular chapter that you enjoyed and use it for a bit of that discipline or some of that motivation or some of that knowledge as to why you need to be doing what you're doing. So yeah, that's everything that I've got for you regarding having a successful winter arc. If you follow just one of these tips, that I'm sure that you'll have one of your goals completed by 2025. So yeah, please like, comment and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!